The Young Turks brought to you by Carbonite Online Backup.
The Senate is supposed to be out of session this week, staying in session. Why is the Senate with 52 Democratic senators staying in session? Because 2 of the 48 members of the minority said, I think we should stay in session because I don't want President Obama to make any recess appointments, and we're going to get really, really mad if you do. That was David Vitter and Jim DeMint. Before we put up what Jim DeMint said today, let me tell you what Jim DeMint said yesterday. What they are fearing is that the president will make recess appointments and appoint Craig Becker to head the National Labor Relations Board, the NLRB, and then most importantly, what liberals have been asking for, liberals and people who want to protect people with credit cards, consumers, regular Americans should be in favor. Everyone who has a credit card, who doesn't own a Fortune 500 company, should want Elizabeth Warren to head the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I want to make sure I get those words correctly in order, because it's a new agency, the CFPB. This is the agency that Elizabeth Warren has been creating for the past 6 months. And many want her, rightfully so, as she's a big consumer advocate, to be the first head of the agency. Liberals wanted, Al Franken and has been spearheading the charge among, and many bloggers as well, to get Elizabeth Warren to head the agency. The White House, of course, terribly afraid that we're going to alienate Wall Street, and there's a tangible money reason for that, is that there's Democratic money on Wall Street too, and Republicans, we know, with the unlimited amount of money that can now be raised from Wall Street, is just, they're going to clean up, of course, because everybody on Wall Street is against the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And so, obviously, and the person who they certainly don't want leading it is Elizabeth Warren. Wall Street execs deciding, Wall Street business execs saying that she would be a disaster. She would be the furthest thing from a disaster. But they, of course, think she'd be a disaster. And Democrats want to be able to compete from a money point of view with the Republicans on Wall Street, at least to some extent. They don't want to get totally outdistanced. We know we're going to get outdistanced. They don't want to be completely outdistanced. So it's incredibly cynical that Democrats are afraid to give Elizabeth Warren this job. Nonetheless, the White House apparently has been struggling with this. There is another factor at play here, Elizabeth Warren's possible challenge in Massachusetts to Scott Brown for the Senate seat that he took from Ted Kennedy. She'd be a good candidate there, too. Almost anybody, though, in Massachusetts could be a good candidate. I mean, that's a seat that Democrats could be poised to win anyway. You don't necessarily need Elizabeth Warren to do it. Nonetheless, those are all the factors in play. So yesterday, thinking that there's pressure and that the president might go ahead and appoint Craig Becker to head the NLRB and Elizabeth Warren, David Vitter and Jim DeMint write to John Boehner and say, hey, don't allow the Senate, don't accept the Senate's adjournment, don't accept the Senate's recess, even though the Senate is, of course, in recess. So DeMint and Vitter are urging the House not to accept it, which will technically keep the Senate from being in recess. And so here's what DeMint says yesterday, not today. Hang on for the quote then, JR. Republican House, they say, will stop President Obama's ability to ram through reckless liberal bills. The president trying to stack agencies with liberal ideologues to ram through his agenda by regulating. Yeah, that's what he's doing. Because the progressives on the left, they're so happy with the president so far, just delighted because he's ramming through his left-wing ideological liberal agenda. Unelected and unconfirmed partisans, the NLRB, FCC, EPA, and other agencies are destroying jobs and hurting our economy. Republicans need to fight back. So anyway, that's what he's been hoping for. And then, so what they do is they send this message to the House, and John Boehner sort of essentially agrees and says, okay, we won't do it. We won't acknowledge your week-long break. That's what we'll do. But they have to get Harry Reid to go along with it, right? And of course, Harry Reid does. So in response to this request, the group of Republican senators, led by Vitter and DeMint, they asked John Boehner to not pass the Senate's adjournment resolution to block any recess appointments. So they send that letter. In response, Harry Reid agrees to schedule 3 pro forma sessions while the senators are gone, May 27th, May 31st, June 3rd. the Senate has to be out of session 4 consecutive days for a recess appointment to be made. So he schedules these 3 pro forma sessions where some senator will come in and just open and close business. Nothing will get done, but it will keep the Senate from being out of business for 4 consecutive days. So there's no recess appointment. Well, so in response, Reid agrees to this. What are you negotiating? What are you doing? Here's what I understand happened in this negotiation. David Vitter and Jim DeMint, they get on a conference call, and they say essentially to John Boehner, hey, look, man, we don't want this to happen, so don't accept the Senate's adjournment resolution. And he goes, okay, I got to get Harry Reid to agree to that. And they go, well, let's put our heads together. They're still on the phone. That's why I'm doing this. Let's put our heads together and figure out how we can do this. What do we have to say to Harry Reid? Well, I don't know. What can we offer him? What can we offer him? And then at some point, it occurs to one of them to just say, why don't we just call him and frickin' ask him? I don't know. That can't possibly work, can it? Well, let's give it a try. Do you have his number? This is Harry. Yeah, Harry, here's the deal. We don't want President Obama to do anything that we don't want, like make a recess appointment of Craig Becker or Elizabeth Warren. So, dude, if you could be a total sport about it, how about just scheduling a couple of pro forma sessions so the Senate doesn't actually go into recess? And, that way he can't make any appointments. Is that cool? I don't know. What are you offering me? Well, let me look through these things I can offer you. Let's see here. Nothing. We're offering you nothing. Will you do it anyway? Okay. For you guys, sure. So apparently that's what's happened. Another big win for the Democrats. Another well-handled negotiation. Way to go, boys. Well done. Bravo.
Eventually, you're going to have a computer disaster, your computer is going to crash, and you're going to lose all your files. But with Carbonite Online Backup, you don't have to worry about any of that because it automatically saves your files off-site. You can access all of your backed up files from any computer remotely, or if you want, you can also access your files through an iPhone or BlackBerry with Carbonite's awesome free app. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac. Think about it, that's less than $5 a month. Get a free trial at Carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.